background, my expertise was really in identifying problems that can be made simpler and businesses that can be made more efficient through the involvement of techs. This is something which is common to pretty much every company that dealt with manufacturing and selling something, right? So the scale of problems that you could solve here were much bigger. And also the impact that you could have by solving problems here was enormous compared to even smaller technology spaces. So I'm sure there is no single template for succeeding in operating a business, right? Maybe the biggest lessons that I've learned through the years is to take your chances, evaluate your options, take your chances, and own your. The world keeps changing, and then the knowledge that we have at our disposal, at least at this day and age, is limitless, right? So being able to acquire knowledge across like a wide cross-section of topics often has helped me make decisions better, even in the most difficult and most unexpected, and finding the right people that you can work with, right? And really finding people who are often smarter than myself, and giving them, empowering them with the skills, the responsibility to step in and take decisions. Really has what has helped is the larger the business grows in terms of headcount. If we really do not simplify management by having people who are capable of self-managing themselves and taking the business forward in directions that me as an individual is not even capable of imagining. Think of this in the broader scheme of things, right? Often you see that we hesitate, or we maybe pause and we think of, hey, do I have a safety net? Do I have a cushion, right? Like, et cetera, et cetera. Comes from the fact that we spent several years maybe. Ultimately, there are only very few things that make a business successful, right? You have to solve a problem that helps you make enough money while solving it for you to be successful. $1 billion. At the end of the day, for the business to do well, you should have found a problem that is worth solving, something that people will be willing to pay a lot of money to have solved. I mean, it's a problem big enough that people are okay with paying money to solve it. What our competitors are up to, we try learning more about our customers and identifying, hey, how much of an impact are we having on their lives, on their businesses, on a day-to-day basis business can use. Because at the end of the day, they're working with us because they want to build a great solution for their customers. And gatekeeping features that way, or limiting the number of people who can access the product, or locking them into a contract, or pricing them in a way that's not commensurate with the value that we generate. These are all things that really hurt us from a customer experience is concerned. This is one of the most exciting markets to be in, because the scale and speed with which the market has evolved is unprecedented, right? Like even the likes of the Western world
Welcome to the Logistics Spotlight. This episode is brought to you by lookforintern.com, an exclusive logistic internship website. If you are a candidate or a company looking to hire interns, then this is the right platform. So the Logistics Spotlight takes pride in bringing out the faces behind the industry. And today we have Mr. Sriram Sridhar, co-founder and CEO, lateshipment.com. Hi, sir. So thank you so much for taking your time to be here with us. So I would like to start by asking, while I was researching about you, I came across that you have a background with IT. You did your MSc in Florida, I guess?
Yes.
Okay. So you have an IT background. So what brought you into logistics?
So it's an interesting journey, right? So I moved out of India in 2009. I did my master's in computer engineering from the University of Florida, Gainesville. Right after I graduated out there, though, my first job out of college was in a large manufacturing distribution company. I was managing technology operations, and over the course of a year or so, I grew to head technology operations there. I was a CTO. When we were involved in that business, one of the biggest challenges that really we ran into every single day was how we managed our supply chain. Because every dollar we saved on the supply chain front, on the logistics front, how we shipped things out, how we managed inventory, how we brought things in from our suppliers, every dollar saved there really contributed to our bottom line. So even though I was working on the technology side of things, a lot of the solutions that we built went into finding optimization on the supply chain side. And that really opened up my knowledge in the logistics space, and slowly that helped me start my own business in the shipping logistics space too.
Okay. So you went on to find a solution for the problem that you faced while you were working. So that's how this was.
Yes. In fact, lateshipment.com, the company that I'm heading now, a lot of the solutions that we built have their roots in the manufacturing distribution company in the sporting goods space that I spent a considerable amount of time in.
So one thing that really caught my eyes is the name of your company. So lateshipment.com. So how is it? Like, is it a little contradictory?
So the name has an interesting beginning, right? One of the first things that we started helping other businesses with was helping them manage late deliveries and helping them hold carriers accountable for late deliveries. So the name lateshipment.com is very, very appropriate there. But then what we figured out after we picked that name was how catchy the name was. Yes. Just like how you asked me right now, hey, what does this name even stand for? It always had that ability to catch people's attention. And even though later when we transitioned to offering products that spanned a much, much larger footprint in the supply chain logistics space, every time we tried changing this name, people were against it. Like, man, why would you change a name that's so catchy? And then we could never get around to doing it even when we tried to. So we've started owning that identity now.
That really stands out, right? It really makes it. It's a good conversational beginner. It's like a icebreaker kind of. People come and ask you why this name. So with the transition from an IT person to a logistic, how was it, and how did you acquire the skills that is needed to manage an logistic company?
This is interesting again for the fact that till I started working in the manufacturing distribution space, this was a sporting goods company, right? Like, we are well known in the US and several other parts of the world. We're still around. I mean, on the sporting goods side, we manufacture, sell softball, baseball equipment and things like that. On the back end here, when I started operating there, pretty much my only connection to logistics was the fact that I'd sometimes ship something through FedEx or UPS. But then looking internally at how businesses of that scale operate, right? How crucial getting products from one part of the world to the hands of a customer or a supplier, how crucial a role that played in making the world go around, that was eye-opening. Also, coming from a technology background, my expertise was really in identifying problems that can be made simpler and businesses that can be made more efficient through the involvement of technology. And when I started working in the supply chain and the logistics space, what I realized was this is something which is common to pretty much every company that dealt with manufacturing and selling something, right? So the scale of problems that you could solve here were much bigger. And also the impact that you could have by solving problems here was enormous compared to even smaller technology spaces where you're solving problems. So that really, really made the space interesting to me. And then over the course of time, my interest just in that space led to me picking up knowledge and skills there.
So you have got into the entrepreneurial journey pretty soon in your career. So what did you learn from that? What are the mistakes and challenges that brought you success?
So I'm sure there is no single template for succeeding in operating a business, right? Maybe the biggest lessons that I've learned through the years is to take your chances, evaluate your options, take your chances, and own your decisions. That's about it. I mean, there's really no right or wrong time to do things. There is really no right or wrong decision, especially when you're operating with incomplete variables. I mean, you back your own skills, understand that over the years you picked up valuable skills that help you make better decisions, decisions that are right more often than wrong. So when you reach a stage like that, often indecision is the biggest way you can hurt yourself rather than just taking a decision and proceeding with it. Right?
So I want to ask, what are some of the milestones that Late Shipment has gone through in recent times? Can you share some of the milestones?
Well, we are just in the middle of a holiday season here, right? So I think just about a week ago, we got around to tracking, I think, our billionth parcel. So that meant when we started out, I think the very first month we were in business, we tracked about, let's say, a few thousand. So at that point in time, thinking about the fact that we could be tracking 1 billion shipments a day was really like a milestone that did not even figure in our eye line, right? Like, but then I'm just very glad and thankful to have gotten to that milestone just like about a week ago.
Okay. So what are the qualities that you developed along the way? With late shipment, you also have grown enormously. So what are the qualities along the way that you have acquired as a leader?
So I think something that really has helped me evolve as a leader, even two things, right? Like one is the ability to continue to accumulate knowledge, right? The world keeps changing, and then the knowledge that we have at our disposal, at least at this day and age, is limitless, right? So being able to acquire knowledge across like a wide cross-section of topics often has helped me make decisions better, even in the most difficult and most unexpected of circumstances, right? The second part of it is really working with people and finding the right people that you can work with, right? And really finding people who are often smarter than myself and giving them, empowering them with the skills, the responsibility to step in and take decisions. Really has what has helped us grow. Again, the larger the business grows in terms of headcount, if we really do not simplify management by having people who are capable of self-managing themselves and taking the business forward in directions that me as an individual is not even capable of imagining, right? Like that has really unlocked potential in terms of growth, in terms of really helping us think of a future that is far greater than where my abilities end.
So the mindset of an entrepreneur is different from the mindset of an employee.
Actually, not so much. Again, most of the skills that you think of that you need to succeed as somebody who works in a business, right? Like having the drive, having the ability to pick up knowledge, the ability to take on responsibility, the ability to envision where things could be and then working towards it are really the same qualities that lead you to succeed as an entrepreneur too. Often people who are amazing at the work that they do, maybe even if they're working for an organization, often have interchangeable skill sets that will hold them well even if they go on to lead a business of their own. That's the way I see things.
But as we are talking about the transition from an employee to an entrepreneur, there are different factors, right? Like finance, risk, and management of people. So how do you see that, and how can a person develop those skills?
So this is something we often have a conversation about, even casually between friends and so on, right? Like pretty much what often separates people from who still continue maybe working and eventually some others who transition to starting a business is often the ability to take risks and to take the plunge at some point in time, right? When you think of this in the broader scheme of things, right? Often when you see that, we hesitate or we maybe pause and we think of, hey, do I have a safety net? Do I have a cushion, right? Like, et cetera, comes from the fact that we spent several years maybe building that cushion around yourselves, right? For instance, let's imagine tomorrow if you wake up and then you don't really have a degree that is going to find you a job, right? You don't really have the experience that you've built over the years. Maybe you shed some of the factors that are maybe leaving you a bit more reluctant to take risks, you would immediately take the plunge and start a business, right? So maybe often the key to doing that, making that switch, is the mental transition to be able to really stop banking on those things which are holding you back. If you really do want to start a business, understanding that the safety net is always going to be there, right? Maybe you spend your next year, a couple of years taking those risks, and if they don't quite work out, you still have the job that you can come back to. That is the real safety net a job maybe offers, rather than saying, hey, if I continue holding on to it, is it really going to help me realize my entrepreneurial ambitions? Probably not so much. Maybe when you're trying to take that plunge, thinking about the safety net as something that doesn't exist, so you're forced to take that plunge, and then thinking about the safety net only when you need it. Maybe if your journey doesn't work out the way as you thought it would.
So the startup culture has been growing, considered in India or other countries. So what really works and what really doesn't work, and how does a startup become successful?
Ultimately, there are only very few things that make a business successful, right? You have to solve a problem that helps you make enough money while solving it for you to be successful. So the key to a successful business, whether you call it a startup, whether you call it like a store down the road, or whether you call it like a business that is venture backed and takes on $1 billion, at the end of the day, for the business to do well, you should have found a problem that is worth solving, something that people will be willing to pay a lot of money to have solved. I mean, it's a problem big enough that people are okay with paying money to solve it, right? As long as you have those ingredients in place, the rest of the things are operational. You can make them fall in place, right? But then if you do not have a problem that is big enough to be solved, something that has enough money in it to make it worth being solved, the rest of it doesn't matter at all, right? So as long as the business starts with identifying a problem like that, identifying customers who are willing to pay to have that problem solved, pretty much everything else is manageable at the end of the day.
So talking about more startups, there are a lot of competition in the logistic industry. So what makes late shipment unique?
Well, doesn't matter which field or which business you pick, you're always going to have competition. The way we see it, way more than we look at what our competitors are up to, we try learning more about our customers and identifying, hey, how much of an impact are we having on their lives, on their businesses on a day-to-day basis? And every time we're able to increase the magnitude of impact that we have, the value that we offer to our customers, and the way in which we go about delivering that value in terms of the service that we offer, as long as we get those things right, it always helps build a moat around ourselves, right? And that is really where our focus always lies. Every time we look at where we want to grow, we look at our customers and identify opportunities where we could be doing better and build on top of that.
So I think that Late Shipment is almost a 15-year-old company.
Mm-hmm. So we just crossed a decade.
Yes. So what is a vision that you have for Late Shipment down the line?
So at lateshipment.com, we look at ourselves as a post-purchase technology company. What I mean by that, we really step into the picture after a shipment has left the warehouse, right? Customer has completed their purchase. We take responsibility for the entire customer experience, the decisions that happen after that purchase is complete in terms of how a product is delivered to the customer, what experience they have when they're waiting for the product to be delivered to them, how does a business market to these customers, right? What decisions do they make in terms of shipping choices, logistics options, how do they optimize costs, how do they hold shipping carriers accountable, what protections do these shipments carry, how is the returns process managed? So that spans an entire universe of things. The way we see it, our vision is to pretty much help a business relieve themselves of the responsibility to manage even a single aspect of this. We step in, take control of their entire post-purchase experience, and we let a business do what they're great at. I mean, every business is in existence because they're great at making a product and selling it, not because they're great at dealing with a shipping carrier or managing post-purchase experience. But then that's inevitably something that they do to make sure their business thrives. The way we see it, we want to build a future where as somebody starting a business, you focus on what makes your business great, which is making a product and selling it. We focus on everything else that is required on the post-purchase side to help make that business great for you.
So I understand that the core value or the heart of Late Shipment is customer satisfaction and understanding what value that you give them. So how is it that you manage customer satisfaction? What are the strategies that you follow and what didn't work?
So over the years, what we've learned is that in business, there are often a lot of things that are not within our control. When we are working with a customer, maybe do they have the budget? Do they understand our product? Do they really have the right person inside the business to make a decision about us and so on? But then of all the things that are within our control, one of the most important pieces is the way we treat our customers, right? Every conversation we have with them, we are in control of that 100%. The experience that we offer to a customer, how quickly we are able to respond to them, how prepared we are with an answer, how much beyond the expected we go in every single interaction. How do we make sure every time a customer has a need, we are able to proactively meet it. And every time a customer expresses a need, we are able to go above and beyond in terms of meeting that need. Those are things that are well within our control. So every time we set policies around how customer experience works, the same thing that we preach to our customers, right? Like, hey, you're in control of your customer experience. Make sure it is exceptional and phenomenally good. That is the same ethos which we employ within our business too. For instance, there are absolutely no time limits on how long a ticket can be open, right? There are really nothing that we prevent our customer success or sales or product folks from really doing for our customers if we know it is going to offer value on the customers, and we do not really hesitate to say yes to a whole lot of things, even if it is not completely within our wheelhouse. And often the way we even price our products, way we build solutions, way we really offer that to customers, right? For instance, our pricing is completely usage-based. We want our customers to really only pay for what they use and not what they thought they will be using, right? We do not have contracts because we want every one of our customers to work with us because they love the value that they're getting, not because we lock them into a 1 or 2 year contract, right? We really do not have limits on how many people can use. We don't have licenses. We don't have any locks on what features a business can use, because at the end of the day, they're working with us because they want to build a great solution for their customers. And gatekeeping features that way, or limiting the number of people who can access the product, or locking them into a contract, or pricing them in a way that's not commensurate with the value that we generate. These are all things that really hurt us from a customer experience perspective at the end of the day. So these are things we easily say no to, along with how we shape our interactions with customers themselves.
So as we're talking about digitalization and how AI plays a major role in every company nowadays, you having an IT background, does it really give you an advantage or an edge towards bringing automation inside your company?
Actually, not just the technology background that we have in the business has, also the space that we are operating in really lends itself amazingly well to AI and having intelligent solutions. Because when you think about it, often the conversation when you talk of, let's say, the customer experience space or maybe the sales space, the competition between or the decision about bringing in AI is often between, hey, do I want an AI, like a machine to do this, or do you want a human to do this? Because these activities are currently already happening, right? So the talk is about replacement. But when it comes to areas that we deal with on the post-purchase side, on the logistics side, often the default option that businesses go with is that nobody's managing these things, right? So it means bringing in a machine and getting it to do things efficiently, getting it to take smarter decisions, take decisions that continue to evolve with the business and always stay cognizant of the business needs, etc., is a boon, because suddenly it unlocks a whole level of efficiency and profits that were otherwise non-existent. These were areas where businesses were not spending any time on, letting profits go down the drain and really hurting themselves because they do not have the resources to invest here, and they do not have the ability to really become experts at this area either. So for us to build intelligent solutions here was not just something born out of the talk around AI now, but then that was always the vision from here on out. I mean, we didn't really want people to step in and say, hey, like, I'm using lateshipment.com, so let me use the data from here to take decisions. No, we wanted the system to be smart enough to understand the business and automatically take decisions on behalf of the business. And that has become more and more feasible over the years, with not just the data that we've had available to us. I mean, we were busy building one of the largest independent data sets when it comes to shipping and logistics related data. And then we also now have the tools to be able to make effective use of that data in terms of taking decisions that help the business day in and day out.
Okay. So I want to understand, how does it work for you in the sector of work-life balance? How do you carry it? How do you see that?
Well, that's probably not a great question to be asking people who run businesses, right? But then the end of the day, I am happy as long as I love what I'm doing, right? So if I spend, let's say, 12 a.m. in the office, which happens quite so often, right? The way I see it, if there is nothing else I would rather be spending that time on, I call that a win. So for me, work-life balance has not always been about, hey, like, how much am I going to be working? How much of the time that I have left am I going to devote to other things in life? No. I love what I do at work. And as long as the decision is about continuing to do this at any hour of the day, it really doesn't matter to me at all. That doesn't mean I don't get time to do other things that I love. But then I'm fortunate to have what I do at work to be one of the one of the things that I love the most about my life. So it really is not as difficult a question for me to answer. Try bringing separation to.
So what is your idea about, or is your perception about bringing fresh talents into the industry? Or what is the idea about hiring fresh talents into late shipment?
For us, I mean, one of the decisions that we took very early on, especially when we started moving a lot of our operations down to India. So the Indian office that we currently have is our largest office in terms of headcount. We have about 65 people who work out of this office. The decision was between continuing to grow in the US. We still have a presence there, where often we had the talent which had done things similar to what we were attempting to do, right? And at a scale larger than what we had attempted. So it was more a question of finding these people and then having them replicate what they'd done in the past. The other option was to have our presence in India, continue growing out our Indian office. The difference would be an abundance of talent, but then usually not people who have done what we were attempting to do in the past. But then we were quite okay with betting on that because we always assumed talent, as long as people have the hunger and the skill set to do really big things or great things, the ability always follows, right? Like they're able to pick up the knowledge and the skills, make mistakes. And in fact, the hunger often compensates for maybe some of the experience that or the baggage that they carry simply because they've done things a certain way in the past. We see it. I mean, we've always been a company that has benefited greatly from people who are fresh, hungry, and out to come in and accomplish great things, right? And I really see no replacement for that hunger as with experience. I mean, of course, experience helps, but then maybe substituting that hunger entirely with experience is really not what has helped us get to where we are at today.
From a logistician's point of view, can you say us how the Indian market is performing, and can you compare it how well it is doing for the US market?
So, the way I see it, I mean, in terms of logistics, especially if you consider things domestically, even though we are not involved in logistics domestically as far as the Indian market is concerned, this is one of the most exciting markets to be in because the scale and speed with which the market has evolved is unprecedented, right? Like even the likes of the Western world has not seen that because we have an abundance of huge population. The current trend where we're all about getting things in the hands of people in 10 minutes, a day is considered too late. So for us to really accommodate or build systems that are robust enough to achieve that level of speed, efficiency, and robustness is unprecedented. I mean, probably India and maybe China are the only two places which are all about building things at such scale, such rapid pace, and also such sheer speed, right? So I really see India as a logistics market helping the world learn lessons about building more robust logistics networks, getting things in the hands of people sooner, and finding ways to make that efficient as well as fault tolerant.
So thank you so much for being here with us. So the things that you have said that I would carry is, I was pretty excited to meet and ask you the question of why did you come up with this name? Because it really excited me. And thank you so much for sharing all your point of view. And it was very simple and it was exciting. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Pleasure.
Thank you. We have come to yet another episode's end of the Logistics Spotlight. Meeting interesting and inspiring people such as Mr. Sriram has given us a lot of motivation. So thank you so much. Keep watching the channel and subscribe and share. Thank you.